2022 season 1 is here, and there's a lot. And one of the highlights being the Mercedes W12, a current, not for long, but a current F1 car. So you see the highlights on the screen. We're just going to go by that and get into it again once we get to the cars. Ones that only have setups updated, we're going to skip because it happens every time. But starting off with just the general iRacing updates. iRacing UI performance has been improved while the simulator is busy loading. Under AI, fixed an issue where the legacy Ferrari 488 was restricted from being used due to a mismatch in the cars that are added as the default class of a vehicle. And fixed an issue where if an AI opponent's preferred number was set to 64 and did not have a preferred number set, in the results screen, your results would be swapped with the AI driver. And then in the paint shop, several new racing suit patterns have been added. Several older sponsors have been replaced with new ones. For league results, resolved an issue in league results for championship and aggregate season points were not being displayed for open or lone qualifying sessions in a league race session. For the AI opponent rosters, fix an issue where attempting to sort AI opponents by a column required 2 clicks instead of 1. And for protests, fix an issue where selecting a violation of protests could cause an error, preventing the user from moving forward in the protest process. Under simulation, for race control, time penalties that exceed a reasonable lap time are now administered in the form of lap penalties. The Entries tab features a new F for flag column between the car number and the participant name, where flag icons will be shown for each team. A checkered flag or a black flag with a white X icon indicated the driver or team is finished with the current session for any reason, such as they've actually taken the checkered flag, they've been disqualified, or if during the qualify session, they've used the ready to race button and the race control flag icons have been updated. All right. For qualifying sessions, the new feature has been added that allows drivers or teams to indicate a ready to race button that they or their team is finished with or does not intend to participate in qualifying. Which is pretty cool. Something I didn't know they were working on. It's one of those quality of life things that are nice. The only thing is you're probably an official, especially for NIS, still have people that aren't qualifying and won't click the button, which is fine. I mean, it's only like 5 minutes, but still, I guess for road courses and stuff, that'd be nice where qualifying's a lot longer. It's also nice in leagues we usually ask. And, you know, most of the leagues that are smaller, it's a lot easier to get that done. But now having a button you can click, that's awesome. So this can be used to avoid the wait for qualify sessions time limit, obviously. Alright, so lap limited qualify sessions embedded within scheduled iRacing events now monitor the session for on-track activity. If no connected participants are on the track and driving and no driver is connected that is either recently finished loading into the session or is still loading, a warning message will be shown indicating that the qualify session will be ended early if no one starts driving. Should anyone start driving, or if a driver connects to the session, the warning will be withdrawn and qualify session will continue. So I guess that means it also does it automatically if no one's on track, which again is really nice for road courses where you wait there a lot longer. In hosted sessions with embedded qualifying, the session host or designated admin can monitor the new F column on the Entries tab. If they see checkered flags, disqualified black flags for everyone, and they know that no additional drivers are expected in the session, they can use the advanced command to shorten qualify. So I guess on your results tab there, whatever, it'll show the flags so you have a better understanding of what's going on. That's nice. For hosted, race admins are now allowed to enable telemetry, even when it is set to be disabled for the server. For team racing, fixed a rare issue where if a team member is in the garage making changes to the team's car setup, and that user gets disconnected, the server did not fully process their disconnection. This left the team unable to drive the car until someone on the team entered the garage and claimed the ability to edit the setup. For heat racing, fixed a rare simulator crash that could occur during a session transition for heat, including an excess of 32 sessions. Okay, so for AI drivers can now race the following vehicles, and there is a whole lot of stuff here that AI has now been added to. So the vehicles, the IR18 Indy car, and the 2 new TCR cars, which we'll get to a little bit later. And then here, all these track configurations the AI drivers can now do. I think at the top it says that there were 19 total configurations across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tracks, if I counted that right. And then they've improved AI with the Audi RS3 and the Spec Racer Ford, and then improve their skills at a few more tracks. We're happy to report that most AI drivers have graduated from the 2022 Season 1 curriculum. Those that did not were decompiled. Ooh, their grueling and expansive education included the following classes, reading, seminars, and special training. So, they've just updated the AI, made them better. More improvements. An assortment of AI driver behaviors have received special reprimand. That should no longer occur. So AI drivers will no longer leave their pit stall after the checkered flag has been thrown. AI drivers who are limping back to the pits will no longer suddenly cut in front of other drivers. AI drivers will no longer have an incorrect fuel level during qualifying. And AI drivers will no longer get lost in the digital shadow realm between session transitions and never rematerialize in the next session type. We don't know where they went, but we hope they're safe and happy. Me too, because if not, they might turn into Skynet. You don't want that. Test drive. And loading into some tracks for a solo test drive session, your car may now begin in a special test drive stall location. For some tracks, these stalls are located inside paddocks or garages, so you can drive out like the pros. And we do have plans to expand the variety of tracks that use these new test drive stalls in the future. That's pretty cool. I might have to find a track and check that out. Maybe we'll do that in a stream or something coming up. Oh, and once again, while I have you here, if there's anything in this update that you'd like to see more in depth, anything specific you want me to take a look at or make a video on, just let me know, and I'll grab whatever and do a video on it. And for anything else, it doesn't just have to be the update. If there's something specific you want, just let me know. We'll get it done. Pit lane. Some pit speed limits have been adjusted to 80 kilometers per hour. This change affects the following tracks: like Imola, Brazil, Monza, Coda, Montreal, Spa, Hockenheim, Hungaroring, Nürburgring, Red Bull Ring, Silverstone, and Suzuka. Alright, pit stop. Fixed an issue where engine temperatures and friction torque were not being reset until after repairs were complete, which could cause the engine to immediately blow again after repairs are done, but before temperatures were reset. I'm pretty sure that's happened to me multiple times. New damage model. The mesh collision system. Let me restart that. The mesh collision system has been updated to prevent colliding objects from stiffening up relative to their collision depth between each other. This was causing ground objects and wall objects to act more dense than intended and could cause snagging or an excessively strong rebounding effect. Fix an issue where the pit crew could fail to jack up a vehicle when using the new damage model. And tires for vehicles using the new damage model should visually adjust to banked corners better. Rendering. The amount of darkness that can be applied by shadows has been adjusted. This should prevent unrealistically dark shadows from overlapping shadow areas and from shadows cast at night. Vehicle carbon fiber textures have been updated to work better with the PBR shaders. Fix an issue where environment specular maps could sometimes not appear at night. Fix an issue where environment specular maps carry the wrong intensity when transitioning from day to night or night to day. Said those backwards, but same thing. Fix an issue where jersey barriers could show flickering shadows depending on the camera angle. Let's see, visual effects. A tire rubber scuffing shader visual effect has been added to all cars. This effect is tracked locally across the width of the tire and will dull the new tire sheen through use. As tires continue to run on the track, highly cambered tires will appear rough in areas that touch the racing surface and remain shiny in areas that are raised. I guess you'll really notice that if they get the tires right on the new Formula 1 car, the new Mercedes. I guess we'll see that. I have not been able to load into anything because as the time that I'm recording this right now, iRacing is still down for maintenance, but their forums are still up, so I'm still able to look at the release notes. I'm doing this a little earlier than I normally do. But excuse me. I do plan on taking very more highly in-depth look at some of the stuff, especially the tires. Backfire ignition cut logic has been improved for a large variety of vehicles. Tire smoke effects have been adjusted slightly, and wing vortices may now appear when the conditions are right. This includes very high speeds, very high humidity. How long can you get them to stay? Again, I wonder if that's something they added because of the F1 car. You see that a lot in F1 races, the little vortices swooshing off the rear wings. All right, animation. Driver models that are using the animation blending system have been updated to ensure they display the correct model version based on camera distance whenever the camera is inside the cockpit. This change affects the following vehicles. And there's a bunch on the screen there. Audio. The low frequency emission effect has been updated. A more aggressive low pass filter is now deployed to remove high frequency sounds from the game audio channel. Also, new settings have been added to the bass shaker section of the app file. And it allows you to fine tune the low pass filter if needed. The default value is 200. So you see frequency game low pass _HZ in the app any file. And additional variants and diversity has been added to road debris sounds. That's pretty cool. Okay, spotter. The spotter calls for fuel estimates have been recalculated and are dramatically improved. The spotter uses the more accurate laps remaining estimate seen in the fuel black box. Spotter messages for damage to broken front and rear wings and bent suspension have been added. This is currently only enabled for all winged open wheel cars. New Italian spotter calls have been added for the Marco. I'm not going to try to say that spotter pack. And the other Italian spotter pack has been updated with additional phrases. User interface. The simulator UI now allows a zoom of up to 300% to better support very high resolution displays. In the garage, appropriate units are now displayed in drop-down menus instead of only values. Monitor configuration. Preliminary support for curved monitors has been added. The FOV calculator now works for them, along with improved 3-screen support. Also, a new render per view mode has been added, which requests that a single curved screen, such as an ultra-wide, be subdivided into 3 views, each rendered with individual projections. The new options for specifying the monitor types, selecting the 3-screen modes, and the FOV calculator have all been moved off from the main graphics options screen and onto a sub-dialog box accessible from that screen. Alright, controls. An option to use the second sequential control to go with the second throttle brake clutch controls has been added. This will make it easier to switch back and forth between paddle shifters and a sequential stick, as well as making it easier to accommodate drivers with adaptive needs. Fix an issue that could cause pedals to vibrate incorrectly after a tire has been knocked off their car. Force feedback. The pedal and wheel rim vibration algorithms have been tweaked to better match the behavior of the Xbox controller. I know no one from iRacing will ever watch this, but please, under force feedback, make it stronger in the next-gen cars, unless they have. We haven't gotten to the cars yet, but we desperately need that. Our options. Fix an issue where open-wheel cars are leaving the steering wheel display screen behind when the disable steering wheel option was enabled. Fix the grammar error in the external display use language. Telemetry. Variables have been added for session joker laps remain and session on joker lap values. New telemetry session strings, club ID, and division ID have been added to match existing club name and division name strings. Cameras. The camera tool zoom slider is now inverted to match the behavior of the field of view slider. Damping on camera zoom is now also disabled when editing the zoom value. And the iRacing SDK. The system now properly detects and reports the current driver to the session string when watching a replay of a multi-driver session. Previously, only the first driver to join would be reported as being in the car. On to the cars now. For the Audi R8, driver animations updated. The Audi RS3 tire compound parameters have been updated. Aerodynamic mapping updated. Vehicle weight and center of gravity have been adjusted. Rear toe adjustment range has been updated. For the new damage model, yield limits on the nose area have been reduced in order to discourage hard bumping, and spring and damper strengths on both sides of the car have been rebalanced. Suspension droop has been updated. Opponent car gearing ratios have been updated to better match those of the player car. Fix an issue where the steering wheel was not rendered correctly when the show static steering wheel option was enabled. For the BMW M4, vehicle audio samples have been updated and remixed. Driver animations updated. Oh, there's 2 M4s. That was for the GT3. This one's for the GT4. Suspension components have been strengthened. Again, anything that's just set up updates, we're going to skip. It's like every car. For the Dallara IR01, the dashboard display has been updated, so it will show the pit limiter active color even when a warning is active. And for the new damage model, suspension mount properties have been updated. For the Dallara IR18 IndyCar, Tire parameters for short tracks have been updated. Aerodynamic properties have been improved while running at large ovals. The aeroscreen support pillar transparency is now a toggle option in the garage. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I race with that on. I don't know. I like in the F1 games, you can turn off the center pillar for the halo. I guess now you can make it transparent, which is nice, but it's not realistic, is it? I guess it's a nice thing to have. I might play with it. I probably won't turn that off for like the streams and stuff. Fix an issue with telemetry when tire compounds are switched. For the Dallara P217, the prototype, fix an issue with the driver's head orientation could be incorrect when their car was the focus car for some cameras. Dirt Street Stock, new damage model has been enabled for the Dirt Street Stock. For the Dirt UMP modified, carbon fiber textures have been updated. Same for the Ferrari 488 GTE. Same for the new Ferrari 488, the GT3 Evo. Ford Fiesta, the Rallycross car Yokohama logos have been added to the contingency decal set. For the Ford GT, for both of them, driver animations have been updated. The Ford Mustang FR500S brake bias has been moved forward slightly to increase stability. For the Mazda, updated the vehicle body panel damage mapping for improved accuracy. All right, on to some of the new content. We got 2 TCR cars in this update. The first one here being the Honda Civic Type R. Touring car racing remains one of the world's most popular forms of road racing, combining approachable front-wheel drive cars with some of the most legendary circuits on the planet. The result is an aggressive, elbows-out form of road racing that proves to be just as much fun for the drivers behind the wheel as it is to watch for the fans in the seats. The Honda Civic Type R made its debut in 2018 and earned back-to-back Model of the Year awards on a global stage in 2019 and 2020. Boasting the same 4-cylinder turbocharged engine as the road-going Civic Type R, the racing version puts out 340 horsepower. Campaigned around the world by various teams, North American fans may best recognize the Civic Type R for running the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge with teams like LA Honda World Racing and Atlanta Speedworks. And that is a good series, by the way. And IMSA, their official YouTube channel, uploads like all their races with the IMSA radio commentary. So they're commercial free with good commentating, and that series is good to watch. Pretty much all the IMSA series are. Give it a try. What am I trying to say? It's still too early. And it also has a new damage model. Along with it is the Hyundai Elantra NTC. And this starts off with the same thing as the Civic. Introduced in September 2020, Hyundai's Elantra N became its latest touring car offering to customer teams around the world. Succeeding the i30 and Veloster touring cars that had made their debuts in previous seasons, the Elantra improves upon Hyundai's existing technology with a brand new 2-liter turbocharged engine that produces 350 horsepower, 10 more than the Honda. Ooh. And this car made its IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge debut in 2021, with Brian Herta Autosport campaigning 2 cars. And again, the new damage model is enabled. Alright, so for the Indy Pro 2000 PM18, new damage model parameters have been adjusted, including chassis stiffness has been increased to reduce the tendency for cars to get stuck together. Side pods and nose pieces have been stiffened. Angular hinge rates have been reduced dramatically. And tire tread collision properties have been adjusted. For the Kia Optima, brake bias has been moved forward slightly to increase stability. The Lamborghini Huracan GT3, a duplicate dive plane has been removed from the interface model of this car. Fix an issue where a bottom nose clip is intersecting the vehicle body. For the Lotus 79, level of detail parameters have been adjusted so that a higher quality cockpit model will appear more often based on camera distances. For the Lucas Oil, the Off-Road Pro 2 Lite, vehicle specs have been adjusted to better balance course cut penalty applications for this vehicle. Same with the Pro 4 and the regular Pro 2. For the McLaren 570S GT4, suspension components and spring dampers have been strengthened to reduce damage from curb strikes. Fixed some mesh seams on the cockpit door panels. And for the McLaren MP4-12C, driver animations updated. For the McLaren MP430, tire textures have been updated. When conditions are right, this vehicle may now generate vortices. Alright, another big car. Probably, I don't know, one of the largest things in this update is the Mercedes-AMG W12. The Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team has been the most dominant race team in the world over much of the past decade, winning 7 World Drivers and World Constructors Championships in a row from 2014 to 2020, thanks to the combined efforts of Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, Valtteri Bottas, and George Russell. For the 2021 season, why did they put Russell in there? He's not there yet. For the 2021 season, the last before sweeping revisions to the competition formula, the team introduced the F1 W12E Performance as its next heir to the throne. Powered by a 1.6-liter V6 hybrid capable of producing over 1,000 horsepower, the car was an evolution of the dominant W11 that had won all but 4 races the previous year. The W12 won with Hamilton on its debut in Bahrain. It took victories in 3 of its first 4 starts, while also leading Hamilton to his milestone 100th career Grand Prix victory and a compelling Russian Grand Prix that saw rainfall and the race's closing laps. Oh, why they gotta do that to me, man? That race is heartbreaking. And it has to do damage model. Yeah, I bet there's already first, I bet there's already a lot of good paints out there. Second, I'm scared to look at the template for that car. It's probably all over the place. It might not be as bad as like the IR18 because that has road and oval, so it's got everything mixed in. But I don't know. I'm sure it's probably headache inducing. Mercedes-AMG GT3 downforce has been increased slightly. Roll bar camera has been moved. For all the modifieds, the driver may now choose the material type for the A-pillar of the vehicle via the garage options, either plexiglass or sheet metal. Windshield reflections have been updated. For the 87 NASCAR Cup cars, body panel stiffness has been updated. All right, here we go. The NASCAR Next Gen Cup cars. Car numbers have been moved forward. Sponsor locations have been updated to match the 2022 rule set. I knew this would be coming soon, so now I got to fix my car because I think I have some stuff in the way of where the number is now. Brake master cylinder and steering gear settings should now display both English and metric units in the garage, depending on the selected units. An average front rub block height sensor has been added to telemetry to help with tuning ride heights. Suspension pivots have been updated in order to fix the hub misalignment, fix some display issues with tires at certain camera distances, fixed a rare issue that could occur where the rear tire changer could get stuck and fail to progress with his work. So nothing on force feedback here. So again, iRacing, please up the default force feedback on this car because it's terrible. The Porsche 718 GT4 Club Sport MR suspension components have been strengthened. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup 992 fixed an issue with missing steering components behind the steering wheel when the show driver arms option is enabled. Spec Racer Ford tire parameters have been updated slightly. Skip Barber driver animations updated. Driver shake animation has been tuned to better reflect the actual forces acting on the body. For the Subaru Rallycross WRX car Yokohama, logos have been added to the contingency decal set. For the USF 2000s, some new damage model parameters have been adjusted, including chassis stiffness has been increased to reduce the tendency for cars to get stuck together. Side pods and nose pieces have been stiffened. Angular hinge rates have been reduced dramatically. Tire tread collision properties updated. For the Volkswagen Beetle Rallycross car, rear collision parameters have been adjusted. Yokohama logos have been added to the contingency decal set. For the Legacy Ferrari 488, carbon fiber textures updated. For the old Miata, driver animations updated. And okay, that's it for cars. So finally with tracks, the final section. So for Imola, some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Painted lines for the DRS zone have been added. Track limits updated. For Interlagos, DRS zones have been updated. Fix an issue with a curb rumble material. For Monza, DRS zones have been updated. For Barber Motorsports Park, some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Same for Brands Hatch. For Cedar Lake, flash photography might now be seen at this track. Charlotte Motor Speedway. Starting position for time attacks updated. Some surface seams in the tunnel near turn 4 and a pit lane have been patched. And iRacing is now available at the following configurations, which was also listed up above. For COTA, DRS zones have been updated. Missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Painted lines have been added for the DRS detection zone. I'm guessing this is going to be on a lot of road courses. Yeah, for Catalunya, painted lines have been added for DRS detection zone. Starting position for time attack updated. Adjusted the final level of detail distances for some objects. These should appear sooner and disappear later. For Montreal, rules tab has been updated. Track limits have been updated slightly. DRS zones have been updated. Painted lines for the DRS zone have been added. Fixed some flickering texture issues near turn 3. For Spa, DRS zones have been updated. Some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. For Daytona, track textures and surfaces have received a significant update and now utilize PBR shaders. Safer barrier foam inserts have been added, and some tire walls near the chicane have been nudged slightly. Dirt track at Charlotte, the ground tires have been softened and should no longer behave like concrete. 5 flags. Fix an issue where some dynamic lights are not rendering into the light map. The ambient light intensity values have also been adjusted to build a bit more contrast. For Hickory, the visual popping that can occur as the camera changes distances from some turn 1 objects has been reduced. Flash photography has been added. New advertisements have been placed. For Hockenheim, DRS deployment sign has been added for Zone 1. The starting position for time attack has been updated. Some surface types for the interior areas of the track have been updated. Some floating barriers have been grounded. And Hockenheim Porsche Experience Center. New track. The Porsche Experience Center is a multi-configuration racetrack time trial track housed within the infield of Hockenheim. It is available as a free upgrade to all current and future owners of Hockenheim. Additional information on the Real World Center can be found there on that link, which you can't click because it's video, but if you want to, you can just type all that in. And then 4 configurations. I don't know we were getting this. I don't remember anything about this. Unless I just blocked it out of my memory. I'll have to check that out. That's pretty cool. Homestead has iRacing at the Indy Oval configuration. Hungaroring Circuit DRS zones have been updated. The shape of the exit curbing at turn 4 has been improved. Race control will no longer require drivers remain in pacing order after leaving the racing surface to enter pit lane. I'm missing a word there. Starting position for time attack has been updated. Indianapolis Motor Speedway AI Racing is now available for the Oval and the IndyCar Oval. Irwindale night lighting is now officially available at this track, and they've added flash photography. And for the figure 8 jump version, fix an issue with the display name of the track. All right, another track, Knock Hill Racing Circuit. Knock Hill Racing Circuit is now available for purchase and use. And it has 6 configurations, including a rallycross. Based in Fife, Scotland, Knock Hill Racing Circuit is Scotland's premier motorsports venue. The 1.267 mile road course was formed by connecting service roads to a mineral railway that had been out of service for more than 20 years and has been a regular host of both professional and amateur British and Scottish racing events ever since its opening in 1974. Knock Hill packs a big punch in a small space, not only for its numerous track layouts, but also for being the United Kingdom's first track to gain certification to run in both directions in the modern era in 2012. Between its international and national layouts, a half-mile tri-oval, and an interior section utilized for rallycross and supermoto racing, its utility for just about any type of racing imaginable has been proven time and time again. The international layout, however, is the best known, as it's used for top-tier events like the British Touring Car and Superbike Championships, Knockhill features 9 corners and over 120 feet of elevation changes on its main layout, with lengthy straightaways both leading into and out of the final corner known as Taylor's Hairpin. Aside from racing, demonstration runs in Formula One cars and driving experiences ranging from the world's top supercars to entry-level cars for junior drivers are mainstays of the track's annual program. So there you go. For Long Beach, track surface bumps in Turn 1 and the hairpin have been addressed. Collision parameters for tire walls and jersey barriers have been improved, and curbs for the final turn have been improved. Mid-Ohio, for the oval and the alternate oval, vehicles will now load with road course tires at these track configurations, and some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. For Bathurst, the missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Mount Washington, the Don't Spill the Water award has been suspended. For Nashville Fairgrounds, AI racing is now available at the oval configuration. For Nürburgring, DRS zones are updated. Some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. A janky cone has been righted and fixed some flickering issues with some BMW signs. For Nürburgring, for the Grand Prix layout, level of detail settings have been adjusted for some grandstands and poles to prevent visual popping as the camera changes distances from these objects. Orne Park, some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Improved some bridge shadows and some terrain seams have been patched. For Alton Park, some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Phillip Island, several track bumps have been smoothed. Armco barriers and pit lane have been adjusted. Fixed an issue where some rumble strips are not behaving correctly. Been fixed an issue where some skid marks could appear extra glossy. Phoenix Raceway, light maps have been updated. Flash photography may now be seen at this track. Red Bull Ring, DRS zones have been updated. Race control will no longer require drivers to remain in pacing order after leaving the racing surface to enter pit lane. The starting position for time attack updated. Road America, some missing blue cones and a merge line have been added. Same for Sebring. Silverstone, DRS zones have been updated. Specialized track limits have been re-enabled. For the Grand Prix layout, the penalty for course cutting has been increased. Race control will no longer require drivers to remain in pacing order after leaving the racing surface to enter pit lane. A painted line has been added for the DRS detection checkpoint, and the starting position for time attack has been updated. Summit Point, for the Jefferson layout, the curbs at Turn 2 and Turn 4 have been adjusted. Alright, now Watkins Glen, one that I think a lot of people, including myself, have been waiting on for a while. I've been wanting a new, I know it's not much is different, I guess, but I've been wanting the updated version. It's a new fully updated track. So Watkins Glen has been remodeled from the ground up using current laser scan date and photo reference. This update includes all new PBR materials and graphical updates for the track and many surrounding objects. And it comes with 4 configurations: Cup, Boot, Classic, Boot, and Classic. So, just south of Seneca Lake, amidst the rolling vineyards and woodlands in upstate New York's Finger Lakes region, sits a shrine of American motorsport. Watkins Glen International is more than just a racetrack. It is the birthplace of post-war road racing in North America, a worthy test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Today, the Glen hosts an NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, as well as a 6-hour crown jewel of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Sports Car Club of America Professional and Amateur Racing, ARCA Menard Series, and a major vintage race meet. It has also been home to major concerts and other festivals. Over the years, the Glen has been lengthened once and continually upgraded. 4 different configurations of the track are available to iRacing members, and a lap around today's Grand Prix circuit still incorporates much of the original layout. The first turn is known as the 90, a right-hander and a good place to pass. Then it's up toward the S's, a series of 3 fast, sweeping apexes leading onto the back straight. The cars reach their top speed here before hard braking for the bus stop at the end of the straight. Here the track deviates from its original circuit for the Boot, a hammerhead-shaped up and downhill section of track added in 1971. Turn 9, where the Boot rejoins the original circuit, is another fairly quick left-hander, tricky because it's off-camber, followed by the even quicker Turn 10, an almost flat-out left-hander. The last corner, turn 11, is another fast right-hander that leads out onto the front straight. Racing first came to the Glen in 1948 in the form of the Watkins Glen Grand Prix, an SCCA-sanctioned event that ran on a more than 6-mile course over the back roads of the town. The success of that eventually led to the construction of a permanent track. The resulting product, a little more than a third in length of the original street course. In 1957, the track hosted its first race, a NASCAR Grand National Series event won by Buck Baker over Fireball Roberts. The following year, Formula Libre? Shut up. And not long after that, Watkins Glen hit the big time. In 1961, Formula One came to the little town by the lake, bringing with it some of the most legendary names in motorsports. For the next 2 decades, the home of the United States Grand Prix was Watkins Glen. The early 80s saw some tough times for the Glen. F1 held its last race there in 1980, and it was closed to all but spectator-free SCCA meets for 2 years. But the track would recover soon enough under new ownership. In 1986, it's my year, NASCAR's top series returned to the Glen, and with it, a whole new renaissance for the track began. A longtime mainstay of the iRacing track library, Watkins Glen received an all-new scan and updates in time for 2022 Season 1. All 4 of its previous layouts have been fully updated with new surface data and artwork, giving one of America's most popular road courses a fresh new look on the surface. And the 2021 version completely replaces the previous version. I tried to get clarification on this before it came out, because like with Phoenix, that version replaced the old one. So the replays didn't work anymore. So I had to go into all my replays, the ones that I wanted, to record what I needed. And I did that just in case, because I even asked a question. I know y'all don't care, but I got you here. So I asked a question in the forum if this would replace the current one or if the old one would go to Legacy, and I never got a reply. So I went in and I recorded all of my previous Watkins Glen stuff that I needed, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. But yeah, there you go. It does replace the old one. So yeah, old one's been retired. All users who owned the previous version have been granted ownership of the 2021 version for free. And it has AI racing at all the configurations. All 4 versions of the track, you can do AI. For Laguna Seca, the pace car driver has been trained for entering the pit lane without hitting the wall. So I guess they fired Grosjean. And for Gateway, AI racing is now available at the oval configuration. So there you go, 2022 Season 1. Some good stuff in there. I like that ready to race button for qualifying. That's pretty awesome. And gonna have to check out some of the new cars and tracks. Again, if there's anything specific in this update or anything specific at all, car, track, a feature or whatever you want to see and anything new, let me know. I'll make a video on it. I'll hook you up. Anyway, I hope this was informative, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And bye.